Hi and welcome back to another new video. I am very excited because today I get to talk about one of my all-time favorite anime, Attack on Titan. You have seen that steam suddenly bursts out of nowhere when a titan is formed, right? Well, in the world of Attack on Titan, that steam is not just for dramatic effect. It is a lifesaver. Let me explain how. When the massive Colossal Titan appears, that steam is its way of releasing all the built up heat and pressure inside, or otherwise things would get seriously dangerous. All that energy would just keep piling up until it's on the verge of exploding. So, that steam you see is not just a cool visual, it is a biological emergency signal keeping things from going nuclear. We all know Hanji Zoe had a huge fascination with Titan biology, but there's one key piece of the puzzle that they may have overlooked: the metabolic heat production. So let's step into the lab and calculate exactly how much energy it would take to move a titan that size. When you think about it, the colossal titans are essentially gigantic working furnaces, right? And when you add in the concept of the paths, it starts to look like a cosmic scale radiator system. So instead of just focusing on the lore, we're diving into the science behind the steam and the energy it takes to keep these things moving. Ready for a little science breakdown? Alright, now we are diving deep into the thermodynamics of Attack on Titan, so buckle up. Now, I am not a physics graduate, I am a zoologist, so I will try my best to explain this from my perspective, okay? Let's start at the beginning, the bolt. We know that whenever an alien transforms, a pillar of yellow light strikes. In our universe, creating mass from pure energy is far from efficient. It takes colossal amount of energy and the conversion process is rarely efficient. In fact, it is incredibly wasteful. Not only do you lose a ton of energy as heat, radiation and other forms, but you are also bound by the laws of particle physics and relativity. It is a high loss event, one that is inherently inefficient. Now think about Ymir and the paths. When she sculpts a titan and sends it to the physical world, that energy doesn't just appear as solid matter, it has to undergo a process to precipitate into matter. This is essentially a cosmic form of energy condensation where raw energy slowly converts into the dense mass of a titan's body. The heat and energy released during this conversion are massive, and the steam we see is just one symptom of the underlying process. It's like steam condensing into water but on a subatomic level. The process that would be at play here is called pair production, where energy gets converted into matter, essentially creating particles and antiparticles that eventually form physical body of the titan. But here's the catch. The second law of thermodynamics always comes into play. It tells us that there is no energy transfer in this world that is 100% efficient. So when you manifest a 15-meter titan, which weighs roughly 40 tons, that transformation generates a ton of waste heat. But this is where it gets really intense. The sheer amount of heat produced during that instantaneous creation of matter would be enough to vaporize the surrounding air. The steam you see, that's not just for dramatic effect, it's actually the phase change of the atmosphere itself. The heat of creation is so extreme that it causes the air around the titan to boil away, turning into steam as it dissipates the energy. So, every titan transformation is like a mini thermonuclear event where heat is the visible byproduct of this high energy process. But the heat doesn't stop once the titan is built. Now, the titan has to move as well. This is where we run into the square cube law. In my previous video, I explained this. I recommend watching it to have a grasp of the idea, but here's the main point. If you double an object's size, its surface area triples, but its volume, in this case meat, increases 8-fold. A human is roughly 1.7 meters. A 15-meter titan is nearly 10 times the height. So that means it has 1000 times the internal mass while only having 100 times the skin surface area to cool itself down. In biology, this is a death sentence, cause every muscle contraction in that titan's body generates heat. Because the titan has so much volume and so little skin relative to its size, the heat gets trapped in the core. If a titan had human density skin, its internal temperature would spike to 250 degrees Celsius just by walking. Their blood would turn to steam inside their veins. The only way to survive this is active venting, forcing high pressure steam out through the pores to carry the heat away. This leads us to one of the most famous observations in the series. Remember, Hanji Zoe once kicked a severe titan's head and found that it was unnaturally light? How can something be 15 meters tall, crush a house, and yet have a head that feels like wood or paper? The answer would be biological aerogels. But what is an aerogel? Think of it as a solid which is made mostly out of air. An aerogel is an ultralight, highly porous solid material where the liquid component of a gel has been replaced with gas but without collapsing the solid network. My hypothesis is that the Titan flesh is not dense like mammalian meat. Inside, it's a spongy, lattice-like structure similar to the graphite aerogels. These are the lightest solid materials known to man, and also they are great thermal insulators. This explains two things. The weight. It allows the Titan to have massive size without its own skeleton snapping under the gravity, and the steam. The spongy nature of the flesh acts like a chimney. The heat from the core travels through these air pockets and vents out as steam. When Hanji held that Titan's limb, he was holding a body that was literally boiling off its own mass to return to the paths. So she wasn't holding meat, she was holding a dying radiator. Finally, we get to talk about the god of destruction, the Colossal Titan. While a 15-meter Titan steams to survive, the Colossal Titan steams to kill. This is called open-loop cooling. By intentionally breaking down its own muscle mass, literally reversing the E is equal mc square process, it releases a thermal blast. This is essentially called a pyroclastic flow, similar to a volcanic eruption. So, the Colossal Titan isn't just hot, it is a high pressure steam boiler with a broken valve. But notice the cost. As it vents, it loses mass. It gets skinnier because it is a biological engine that burns its own chassis to generate power. It is the ultimate proof that in the world of Titans, heat is the only currency that matters. So, the next time someone tells you Attack on Titan is just a fantasy show, remind them of the thermodynamics. Remind them that a 60-meter giant isn't just a monster, it's a masterclass in heatsink engineering and Einsteinian physics. Intelligence isn't just about knowing that titans are scary, it's about knowing why they don't melt away. If you want to see the world through a smarter lens, stick around. We are just getting started with the Jimverse. Stay curious, stay nerd. Peace.